Welcome to A Touch of Grey Matter. I'm your host, Dave Sokolowski. As always, I'm joined by Barry 3D Carter and Thomas Patrice. Unfortunately, Zulf is still celebrating Ramadan, or is he actually celebrating? Like, there's not... I'm thinking celebration, there's food, there's, wine, women, song type thing, and Ramadan is kind of like all anti that. So I don't know if he's actually celebrating it or if he's just kind of like dealing with it and he's like, I got to get out of this quickly. Very special thank you to Jaybird Digital Arts. Dude, I cannot say enough about this guy. If you need anything done, posters, websites, anything digitally, seriously, find him, talk to him, send him what you've got. If you've got an idea, he will make it come through and he will make it look just spectacular. Other than that, we're back. It's Monday. It's another week. Catching up with the news from last week. Now Will Smith and I have something in common. Neither one of us are going to the Oscars for the next 10 years. I'm going to assume. I'm going to pretty much not guarantee, I can't guarantee anything because, shit could happen and something could just, magically go. I don't think I'm ever going to get invited. I don't think I'm ever going to get nominated for an Oscar, let alone just decide to go and be part of the crowd. But he's definitely not. So yeah, there's that. We went to Montreal this weekend. Had a really good time. The initial reason why we were going out was, and you two will know about this, we went for a Cabana Sucre.
Oh, wait, a Cabana Sucre.
Now, if you've watched us for a while, you'll realize that, like last season when we did this, I had relatives come in from Quebec and they brought us Cabana Sucre. And let me get this straight. If you don't know what Cabana Sucre is, let me explain it to you. It's kind of like a restaurant, but you pay one price and you get food. And they just bring the food to your table. If you want more, just ask. They'll bring it to you. But everything on the menu, in some way, shape, and or form, has some sort of maple syrup in it. Yeah. And all these places have the trees and everything else. And you see all the, like, they've got the pots and the spigots in it. And, like, they're just dripping and they're, like, smoking the place. And I was sitting there and I'm looking and I'm seeing all these people there. And for the most part, everybody else that we were with, there was like 24 of us. I'm going to say 21, 22 of us have all been to a Cabana Sucre before. Mm-hmm. I had not actually physically been.
Oh, it's your first time.
It was my first time. My daughter, I know, had never been. And we had a brother in from Belgium. Ooh. Who was there. Yeah, it was an international affair. We had Montreal Widow Sons there, me from Peel, he was from Belgium, and we had a guy in from Maine.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so like it was a good weekend. It was a lot of fun, but I noticed there was one point in time where I'm driving in to Montreal and we're on the outside still, and I see a sign on the side of the highway saying, Canadians developed insulin. Canadians will beat diabetes. And I'm like, not fucking here, you won't. Like, have you seen their fucking menus? Like, we had crepes for breakfast with, of course, and like they're bringing out like maple butter and fucking like peanut butter and jam all in one jar, and like the maple syrup and like a caramel spread and whatnot. And yeah, you had the fruits and whatnot that you could put in the crepes. But I'm like, okay, so like having the breakfast and everything else, and I can feel like my teeth rebelling against me.
The heart's slowing down.
Hunger is clogging.
And then I noticed the more I had for breakfast, the slower everything got around me. And then we went for dinner. And like 10 minutes after dinner, I'm outside and I'm smoking and I'm like, like I needed to do like a couple of lines of Coke just to take off the fucking edge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm like, it's ironic to have a huge sign saying we will beat diabetes, but come for dinner because everything's made with fucking maple syrup here.
Well,
I'm like, no, because it's not just during the season. Because they have the maple syrup mafia there.
Oh, okay, yes,
that's going to store this shit. And they're still going to be breaking out the barrels to cook with it and everything else. You might not get the sap all throughout the year.
No, right.
Yeah.
But they've got enough to last that they can be in operation all year. And and don't get me wrong, when I say maple syrup mafia, I mean the fucking maple syrup mafia. You've got the Italians on one side, you've got the Irish mafia, you've got the Jewish mafia, you've got the maple syrup mafia. And there was a huge story like maybe 5-10 years ago.
Yes. Yes. I was going to bring that up.
Where, man, I watched that and I was like, you're fucking kidding me. Like they stole like barrels, like truckloads of barrels of maple syrup.
Right. And just to clarify, they didn't steal the barrels. They stole the truck that had the barrels in it. I'm talking a full out loaded 18-wheeler long haul semi. They stole the truck. And if you calculate the amount of the maple syrup that was in there, the value of it, it's worth more than the truck, because they had it on the news and say it was at least a couple of million that was stolen in a few trucks. And they couldn't find where it was at first, and it was going on the black market, because during Cabana Sucre, when they're actually making the maple syrup, it's expensive. But when you get it out of season, the price is almost double, and you get it in cans, and they sell it everywhere. So good luck trying to find it, out of season and prepared to pay a price. And to your point, like I've been to Cabana Sucre, or Sugar Shack as they call it in English, and they put it on everything. Like Dave, for our viewers, they're not joking. Like Dave's checking his heart rate right now. They're not joking.
I was like,
yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna put maple syrup. Here's some ham with maple syrup. Here's some, mac and cheese with maple syrup. Here's your vegetables in maple syrup. Here's some snow with maple syrup on it. Stick a stick in it and lick it. That's the whole thing. This is the thing. It's like you go outside and don't drink
something simple. Something simple. They fucking made hot dogs, cut them up, tossed them in maple syrup.
Right.
General Tao chicken with maple syrup.
Right.
Pork and beans. They had that. What is it? Crouton?
Yes, croutons. Yes.
Yeah.
No, not croutons.
No, it was crouton.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Gravelly stuff.
Yeah.
That's a fucking acquired taste, man. That's literally just pork and maple syrup. I think they just cut up the pork really finely and mold it together with maple syrup.
Literally.
Now at the Cabana Sucre, it was, and it's not my words, so don't get mad at me, but it wasn't proper. Like everybody was kind of like, they took a little bit and went, not really.
Right. People are very particular on their.
And I'm like,
and their
how exactly do you tell when this shit is bad? Like, because I've had good. I've had good stuff, and even then I was kind of like,
yeah. It's man.
You got to get used to it. It's not that simple. It's an
No.
And you have, when you go to Cabana Sucre, you have connoisseurs of the syrup. Like you have, when I remember going there, and you had one guy who would tell you which one was fine, which one was made in winter, December. So I don't know if you did that. Did you do that sort of thing up there when you went?
oh, I talked to the owners for a little bit, and they were explaining how, like you boil it to one temperature, and then it's fine for, and then you got to boil it to a higher temperature to do the ones in the snow.
Yeah.
It's a whole
So I mean, like
process.
overall, my daughter Sophia fucking loved it.
Right.
Right. Well, because she's 11, and everything on the menu has fucking maple syrup in it. So, it's not like she was in there going, no, I couldn't. I swear, I have a dentist appointment on Monday. I've got to,
But I'm sure she slept well that night, though.
Oh yeah, no, it took her to like 1:30, 2 o'clock to fucking. But like seriously, after dinner, like I was literally expecting dentists to be outside handing out like toothbrushes and their business cards, and here you might want to call me on Monday. Because you can just feel the maple syrup like just digging into the teeth. I was like, wow. Like, and don't get me wrong, the food was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't anything to write home about, and everybody was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if it was just because it was late or if it was, but it was like, it was delicious, no doubt about it. I definitely do it again. But yeah, the biggest irony for me was that sign that I was like,
yeah,
I don't think you guys get this.
To your point, let's put it this way. They're talking about, we cure, the vaccine, diabetes, and all that in insulin. Sure, we might have invented those things, got it, but we needed to invent those things to survive as long as we did. If you look at the normal Quebec diet, it consists of beer, poutine, a Cabana Sucre,
beer, poutine, Cabana Sucre,
yep,
steamies, and cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes is dessert.
And a Pepsi on the side.
Cigarettes is the appetizer sometimes. Okay.
Actually, from what I saw this weekend, cigarettes go with everything. Like, it's bad if I'm sitting there and I'm like, I think I have to quit smoking for a bit. Like,
oh man.
Vive le Quebec, eh?
Because Dave, what you're really trying to do to kill the cancer and the diabetes at the same time. You have to eat the ham with the sugar to cure the sugar in the Coca-Cola or the Pepsi. But the May West is the best to cure the cigarette. Dave catch on. Look at that, Dave. No, Dave. Honestly, glad you experienced that, because you know what, Barry and I grew up with that. And that's one of the many things that I do miss about being back home. But yeah, if you take your kid there, wow, Dave, you're brave, because any kid under the age of anybody under the age of 15, that's a sugar rush. And I'm sure she must have been asking like questions like, Daddy, what we do next, Daddy? We gonna get more sugar? You get more sugar? I see sugar. You know what I mean? Because wow.
Don't throw anything out. We're getting leftovers.
No. It was like, no, we're not taking anything with us.
Dave, that's amazing.
Let's look at people's diets. And what I mean by diets, Quebec, we know that's Quebec. That's born and raised. That's it. And moving here to Ontario, I don't know what would be the equivalent of that, or what would be the equivalent in the States. I mean, we're always making fun of how people eat in the States, right? And they eat bad, and you can go and buy a 4-liter jug of Coca-Cola. 4 liters, right? At some stores. I'm like, wow. But Quebec, I don't even know how we made it as far as we did, man. See, Tom, you can't go to a sugar shack anymore. That would kill you. That's your kryptonite. Mm-hmm. Just getting there, just walking on the land, it's like, oh, look, a maple tree. Diabetes.
I'd be down. Listen.
It's like the most retarded version of the Blair Witch Project ever. Just walking through a maple tree forest.
For a bunch of diabetics. I don't know how we're going to survive.
This camera's really shaky. No, that's just him after the maple syrup. Well, earlier on, so we took the bikes up to Barry's and did a couple of pictures and whatnot. So, and Barry got on my bike and he realizes that now when I say the joke of how, like when I first started off my bike, I felt like Michael J. Fox. That's pretty much the same feeling after eating all that fucking maple syrup. Like, it's
dude.
It's like everybody walking out of there has Parkinson's or something, man. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
Man, so hold on. Here's my question. When you went to the sugar shack, I mean, obviously I know you drove from Toronto to Montreal. Did you drive from wherever you were, or did you get on like a bus trip and go that way to the sugar shack?
No, we all drove up.
Okay, see, that mistake number one. When we went, they organized, like certain places organize like a bus trip. So you'll pull up with a school bus and everyone gets on. You know, they do it like a company. Some companies will do it and you can just get on and they will drive you up there. So this way, everyone can just eat, drink till you want to pass out, get back on the so-called, like, you know, the big yellow school bus, and it'll come down the highway and everyone just power naps till before you get back to your car.
Fuck. No, and you know what? That would have worked out even a lot better. It was up by Mirabel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Mirabel's got some good ones. And if you go towards Sherbrooke, they have some other ones. But yeah, Mirabel, well, they have to have something because they kind of, to me, they went down at one point. I'm not talking the Sugar Shack. I'm just talking the area because we always had the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Airport or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
And it used to be like known as Dorval Airport. And that was our main airport in Montreal. But then they said it was too small. They wanted to expand. So they opened a bigger international airport, which was at Mirabel. So it was just called Mirabel Airport. And that's where all the international flights are going. So if you look back to the 70s for Mirabel Airport and look at pictures, you'll see how huge this thing was. But it was such a drive to get to the airport, you know?
That's what everybody was saying. They're like, nobody uses this airport anymore because it's like an hour to get there.
Exactly. So you know, and that's where all the international flights were. So if you're going domestic, okay, you can still leave from Trudeau. If you were going or Dorval, as they call it at the time. If you're going anywhere international, you had to do that hour drive outside of Montreal to get there to fly to any other place around the world. But now it's just used for, I think, like parcels like UPS or FedEx might, I think, use it. I'm not sure if it's still in use.
Barry, Dave, you want to know why it's so far away? Huh? You need the land to build on. Yeah. Certain things you want to build over. That's why it's named after that's why it's named Mirabel. You know? I'm sorry. You know,
Tommy the Mafia man.
But no, Dave, honestly, glad you experienced that. It's I miss that really about Montreal. It's one of the better things. I can't do it. My kids can do it, but I can't even. I'd bring a bag. I'd be that guy who brings a bag. I brought my own food. It's okay. I'll just have a milk. I have a smoothie. I'm good. No sugar.
You can't even hold a can.
I can't, dude.
It's leaking.
I can't look at anything with sugar in it nowadays.
So what you're telling me is every time you annoy me, we're going for maple syrup. I'm just going to get those little candies in the leaf shape, and I'm just going to fucking throw them at you while you're on stage.
And then I got to say, and then
this would be Thomas. This would be Thomas like a minute after Cabana Sucre. Hey, Dave, man, I want to go on your bike. You know what? Because no, I will not do Cabana Sucre.
Yeah, no, but it's an experience. It's fun to happen. And then they play music after. I know the last time I was there, I mean, everyone just ate, drank, had a good time. Then they put on music. I'm not saying it was the best music. It was more like, you know, Quebec music, right? It was all French, you know.
Very, very Quebecois. and that's what we thought was going to happen.
Mm.
Apparently, there is just some emo hipster doing the best of Ed Sheeran.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, yes. His name is probably Régent, and it's probably from his personal collection in his car.
I don't know what his name was, but I've never wanted to punch Ed Sheeran more in my life.
Now, you sure it's Ed Sheeran and not Emo Phillips?
No, because I can deal with Emo Phillips.
It's someone's cousin. I'm telling you, man. It's culture that's been going on, from like years. That's ingrained in the culture, which is cool.
Well, and that's the thing, because everybody there was saying that, like, when we first walked up, there was music playing and they had it piped outside, and it was very French, like very, very, like, some of the Irish rebel songs, but in French.
Yeah.
And you could just hear the anger and the bitterness and everything else. And that's, everybody assumed that that's what was going to be played throughout the night.
Yeah.
And this guy starts in with Shape of You, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, read the room, dude.
Read the room.
Oh shit.
Like, ooh, Castle on the Hill. No, fuck off. Like,
it's like,
don't
so
bring up the hill here.
Yeah.
It's like I say, are you boys the band? Yeah, man, we're the band. Okay, what songs do you know? Ride.
All night.
And they keep singing the same song over and over
what
again.
type of music do you usually have here? Oh, we have both kinds, country and western.
Yes. I'm glad you made it back, because, man, that's I love Montreal, and I don't know how I survived in Montreal. I think the thing that saved me the most is because I was very active. So I had a job where I worked on my feet. I didn't sit down. And then on top of it, I did a lot of dancing. I would be out, 4 nights a week dancing, and then I'd be dancing on the weekends. Not stripping, because I would have had more money. I'm talking hip hop dancing. So I would be out there sweating my ass away, breaking all the moves. I think that's the only thing that saved me in my arteries, between Lafleur's, Belle Province, Cabana Sucre. Oh my God. And then, of course, Benny's. And every time I walk in, I see a poutine, the first thing out of my mouth is extra cheese. I didn't even taste it. And they're like, here's your poutine, extra cheese, please. Oh, sir, we put a lot of cheese. I said, extra cheese.
Do you
My
remember
heart's slowing down
Lafleur's?
already.
Remember Lafleur's on a Saturday night coming home? We'd walk in and order. The order is poutine, extra cheese, like 7 people deep. Yeah, what he want. Oh, and 2 steamies. Steamies are hot dogs, right? They didn't fry them up already. They steamed them. They had a special machine. You put and it came out, and they had these little buns that they put around these big ass hot dogs. And then what
are you explaining steamies to me?
I'm sorry,
To the audience.
I'm explaining to our audience, not to Mr. Sokolowski, he's a connoisseur.
Okay, because I was going to say, if I recall correctly,
We were craving it when we
like,
went down
just
to Montreal.
really the last 2 times we've been in Montreal, we haven't gotten steamies, and I'm kind of getting fucking annoyed by this. But when we played Scotty's,
Wow.
first thing we did, we walked out, and La Belle Province was right beside, and we that's where we're going.
Oh, and coleslaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It needs to be served with coleslaw. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's you want orange juice and coleslaw. Sure. Why would I want
Orange
coleslaw?
julep. I mean, look, my dangerous combination was Lafleur's poutine, extra cheese. And then they say, sir, you want anything else? And I'm like, yeah, give me 2 Michigans with cheese and onions. They did it in a way that some places do the Michigan that you can't hold it. You have to actually cut it with a knife and fork to eat it, right? Mm-hmm. But they would do it in such a way that it was thick enough that it wouldn't drip over the bun, that you can actually eat it, right? And cheese and onions. And then what? If I was close to orange julep, forget it. I'm done. And these places are open 24/7, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, breakfast, whatever.
But
breakfast time,
Barry,
I'm
have
having
you seen
poutine. I don't know how I survived Quebec.
Okay, orange julep is famous. It's right on the carry. Okay, but I walked in there one fine Saturday.
Oh, to carry.
But after a club, the girl had this bucket, okay, not a bag, a bucket of sugar. She goes, bienvenue à la julep orange. You know, welcome to Orange Julep. How can I help you? I'm like, you can finish dumping that tub. You go ahead. And she's mixing it. Okay? She's mixing it. And then she says, pat, pat, pat. Oh, you want a julep? I was like, this is before I had diabetes. I was like, yes, I'll need it for the drive home. You know, sugar, what is that? Dave, if you think the Cabana Sucre had sugar, I think Orange Julep alone, okay, would have needed one of those trailers, okay? Because I'm telling you, there's enough sugar in that thing to kill a fucking small horse. Excuse my language.
Sorry, I haven't even been listening to you. Once you said DeCaras, I was just started thinking of like the steamies and the mouth started watering and everything else. And we're going to get off this topic right now because I just finished dinner and I'm fucking hungry again already. So for Barry, 3D Carter, Thomas Patrice, Jaybird Digital Arts, thank you very much. Zulf, we'll see you in a bit. Remember, there's a lot of good people out in the world, and if you can't find one, be one.